Welcome to the Background Noise Podcast, and this is our finale. This is our last episode of season one. It's been fun. It's been a pretty short season since we first started the show in, I think it was early September, but we figured we'll pretty much, for as long as we're doing this, we will start a new season every year. And so now that it's the start of the new year, we're going to end up wrapping up here and pick back up in February. So that's going to be pretty exciting. But before we get into wrapping up, I'm your host, Jack.
I'm Joe.
I'm Joseph.
And we're just going to sort of highlight things that we enjoyed, particularly movies, and then some other things as well from 2021 that we just had a blast with. And then we're also going to talk about the films we're looking forward to this year in 2022. So I will be going first. Let me just knock out. I have a couple honorable mentions for this year. So let's do top 5 films first. First honorable mention I had was a comedy special by a comedian named Bo Burnham called Inside. It was quite funny.
Yeah.
That came out this year. I forgot that came out this year.
Yeah, it came out in 2021. It was a perfect encapsulation of what it has been like in quarantine. And he did a very good job with the different songs. Some were hilarious, others were just really catchy. And just I had an absolute blast watching that special and revisiting some of those songs, weeks or months after watching it. So had a blast with that. Another film that didn't quite make the top 5 just because I watched it a couple days ago, so I don't think it'd be fair. I haven't had enough time to process it and live with it and all that. It was this film that came out called Tick, Tick, Boom. I just watched it Friday night. I think it was Lin-Manuel Miranda's directorial debut. So if you don't know Lin-Manuel Miranda, he was the guy who created both the musical In the Heights and then the now very popular musical Hamilton. So he also did a lot of songs for Moana, I believe. But anyway, super
Never
good.
heard of any of those things.
I know, right?
Yep, if you ever had beef with theater kids, it's his fault.
Yeah, that's fair.
But super good songwriter and playwright. And so this was the first film he directed. And it actually stars Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man himself, as the playwright Jonathan Larson, who is best known for his musical Rent. But his first musical was one called Tick, Tick, Boom. And so that's what this film is a movie adaptation of. And it was just excellent. If you haven't figured out already about me, I'm a sucker for a good musical. And so Andrew Garfield just had a fantastic voice, sung just beautifully. I think I liked pretty much all the songs, but it was a great story, and I just had a blast with it. And so that was a fun treat that I wish I'd actually watched during 2021. But as soon as I heard about it and saw like a clip or two, I knew it was going to be good. So I'm glad I finally got around to seeing it. So definitely worth a watch if you like musicals at all, or Andrew Garfield. So that was good. But anyway, to get into the top 5. First one, at number 5, we have No Time to Die, which was Daniel Craig's last entry as James Bond. Not going to go too much into spoilers or anything, but Casino Royale was his first film, and that's probably one of my all-time favorite films. Is just a excellent spy film, action film. Daniel Craig just totally owned the role of James Bond. And since then, we have had 3 other films. Before No Time to Die, we had 3 other Bond films. So we had Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, and Spectre. Quantum of Solace and Spectre were okay. Skyfall was good, but not nearly on that same level as Casino Royale. And then we get No Time to Die, which really felt like, even though it is his final entry as Bond, it definitely felt like a great return to form and is my second favorite Bond film behind Casino Royale. It was just excellent, an excellent tribute to the Bond character in a great send-off for Craig's run. So was very pleased with that film. At number 4, I had Mitchell's vs. Machines, which was a Netflix original film. Very fun animated film about this dysfunctional family where technology basically takes over the world. and they're like the last family that hasn't been captured by this evil tech company, and so they have to survive and free everybody. So I just had a blast with that. That was a very fun surprise. That was produced by the same people who did Spider-Verse and other films like that. So Lego Movie. So the animation was just insanely awesome. And so that was a fun surprise. I think that came out earlier this year. It was like February or March. So great movie.
That was Lord and Miller, right? Those two?
Lord Miller. Yep. So very hard to go wrong with those two guys. They're their production company. They usually pretty much everything they put out is pretty solid. So at number 3, I put Dune, which was excellent. If you want to know more about that, you can listen to an episode. But pretty much enough said about that. It was an excellent cast, excellent story, and I cannot wait for part 2 in 2023, I believe, is when it's official. So can't wait for that. Going back to musicals, at number 2, I put In the Heights, which, as I mentioned before, that was Lin-Manuel Miranda's first musical. And so they finally did a movie adaptation of that. And I was just blown away. It was just a great story. Every song just hit the right spot. And again, had a blast with it. And can't wait to rewatch it again sometime. And of course, at number 1, we have Spider-Man No Way Home, which we just talked about last episode. That did everything I wanted with Spider-Man and so much more. It not only, like I mentioned in the episode, not only wrapped up and paid homage and tribute to the Spider-Man, live-action Spider-Man of the past, but also was another good entry for Tom Holland and really set him up to be the Spider-Man that we know and love. So very impressed, and overall I would say it was a very good year for movies. So there you go.
Very nice, very nice.
Not too bad, sir. Listening to your list, I realized just how many more movies you watch than me. Because like outside of watching movies for this podcast, I usually only watch movies on a rare occasion. Obviously I watch all the Marvel movies regardless of if I'm doing a podcast about them, but like most movies I'm watching because of this podcast.
Well, I'm happy to get you out of the house.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's better than nothing. So my list,
horizons.
I had a much slimmer pickings for my list just because I didn't watch as many new movies.
Sure.
But my we can call this an honorable mention if you want. It is my 5th pick, and I know that it's not a great movie. It's a movie that I enjoyed. I understand that it's not a good movie. It's Venom 2.
The Oscar-worthy
Academy Award nomination deserving.
I'm about to tear out my tonsils, I swear.
Oh, it is so sad.
Listen, partially because I know it will offend you guys. Partially because I know it will offend you guys. Also,
absolute contrarian, I'm disturbed.
It's part
Not
of
as
it's all part
disturbed
of
as
the game.
Cletus Cassidy, but
I did genuinely enjoy that movie. Like I actually did enjoy watching that movie. I know it's not a great movie, but I enjoyed watching it. And sometimes you gotta have movies on your list that are just like, this is stupid and I had fun watching it,
Sure.
No, I understand that. Yeah, even if it is a cinematic masterpiece,
yes,
it is also just a good bad movie. Is a good word for it.
Like the high-scoring negative movies are high-scoring movies that you ironically enjoy.
Sure.
Enough said. But moving into like actually good movies, I have next up movies that are not ironically enjoyed. Good movies that are actually seriously enjoyed. Quiet Place 2 is my number 4 pick, which is something that was watched. That was before we started the podcast.
Right.
I actually watched A Quiet Place for the first time, like a day before before Quiet Place 2 came out.
That's right.
So man, that's fresh in your mind.
I went into it with no expectations other than literally having just watched the movie, and I thought it was pretty good. I think it's actually better that way, like watching him, because in the narrative, it's right back to back. So you're like they. Because the dad at the end of the first one, the dad dies, and Yeah, sure. Spoilers for a movie we didn't review on the podcast.
That's a 5-year-old movie.
Yeah. Like the dad dies, and then they immediately go into like we've changed it from cowering in fear to we know how to fight these things. So I thought it flowed together really nicely. Very nice horror movie, or
more thriller.
More of a
I
thriller
would
than
say
a horror.
thriller at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then into an action thriller, I guess. Like would be Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Nice.
Which I very much enjoyed. Have been a fan of Ghostbusters for a while as a movie that's like something in the background that I enjoy, like a thing that I know about that I've enjoyed. And I thought Ghostbusters Afterlife was... we've gotten a lot of movies this year, and I think we're going to get more next year as well, that are like sequels or capstone projects to an ongoing series, or revisiting a series from a different angle, or things of that nature.
Yeah.
And I thought Ghostbusters Afterlife knocked it out of the park. An excellent way to do that. Paying homage to Ghostbusters, also telling its own story. Even talking to people, I've actually talked to people who haven't seen the first Ghostbusters, who have enjoyed Ghostbusters Afterlife without even knowing what all the references are. So,
oh wow, that's awesome.
That tells me that's a good movie.
Yeah.
And then my number 2 pick is Dune. Obviously, excellent movie. Now, putting it at number 2 is conditional on how good Dune Part 2 does.
Sure.
If they do Dune Part 2 and it's terrible, then it kind of detracts retroactively from how good this movie was. But assuming the conclusion is as good as the beginning was, excellent movie. Excellent. It'll be an excellent duology, or however many movies they decide to make. And then, of course, no surprise, obviously, number 1 pick, Spider-Man No Way Home. It's like another movie that's revisiting this old franchise, this old series. Although it's the newest installment in an ongoing series, but it's coming back to this old character and bringing back old versions of the same character.
Spoilers.
And spoilers, yes, if you haven't seen it yet, spoilers. And it was excellent. It was everything. Like I think, Jack, you said this: everything you wanted and more.
Yep.
From a Spider-Man movie. So.
And I will say, and you probably agree with this, Joe, probably the best in theater experience of any of the films we've seen.
Yes, 100%. One of the best, certainly this year, best in theater experience. And I would only rivals a couple other movies, which would like a couple other maybe the Endgame and maybe Force Awakens. When I watched that one in theaters, that was a good theater experience, although I didn't like the movie so much.
Sure.
In hindsight,
it
was a good. Yes, the hype for it was good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are my top 5.
Good stuff. Well, I've actually got I used my honorable mentions to do some of those either so bad it's good or like ironic enjoyments. Well, we're gonna start off low with one that's a pure ironic enjoyment. It's what is it? It was a little Nick Cage film called Willy's Wonderland.
I heard about that.
Yes,
not watch
that
it.
one. Oh god, it's so weird. But the funny thing is, it's not bad. I mean, it's essentially an indie movie, but it's got good costume design, a good Nick Cage performance, decent direction. The guy's like second year director, and he's pretty good. It's just funny. Nick Cage is like giving his time to all these indie directors. And just like, I like the script. I'm gonna give you a performance. And it's like this was just one of them that was like, what in the world is this? I love it.
Yeah.
But it's Willy's Wonderland. Check it out. After that is what is it? Godzilla versus Kong. Me Like Big Monster Punch.
That was fun. I'll give you that.
It was very fun. Just again, love Godzilla. I like King of the Monsters a little better, but again, very, very fun movie.
Can I tell you my favorite scene from that movie?
Go ahead, please.
It's where they're fighting, and Godzilla brings Kong down, and then Kong gets back up, and I think his arm's been dislocated. So to put it back into place, he whams his arm into a building.
Smashes it against
It's
the building.
awesome. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's something else. My favorite one, I would say, was probably what is it? The tag team fight at the end, where the funny thing was the first Godzilla movie. What is it? I can't remember the director's name, but the 2014 one where people said, "Oh, there's not enough Godzilla." It's like, yeah, they tried to have it, realistic. It's like, how would a giant monster move? And then Mechagodzilla comes out, and like Godzilla's doing drop kicks, and he's just moving like he's some kind of what is it, Energizer Bunny. Mechagodzilla's like slamming him into 5 buildings like this is a WWE match. Yes. And then Kong comes in with the steel chair, and it. Really, that was the best part. It's such a dumb movie, but it's so good. And then an actual decent honorable mention is Netflix's Fear Street trilogy, 1987, the middle one. It's the best out of the 3. I didn't really care for the other 2, mainly because I didn't, not the biggest fan of Scream, and then the other one was kind of just, I guess, there. But yeah, this one's pretty much like Netflix adapting like a old R.L. Stine series from the 90s, not Goosebumps. I think Fear Street's literally just the not Goosebumps series. But yeah, they took that, they turned it into something else, and now it's just like a little love letter to the heyday of slashers, and it's a good movie with decent performances, and yeah, an interesting little story they had going on. So yeah, now for actual top 5, was it? I'm gonna start off with Candyman. I saw the Candyman movie. It was okay. It was pretty good. I mainly liked it because of just the way the art direction was, in terms of like just how it almost had like a art film feel, and just how like I liked the first Candyman that came out in the 90s. So I was really, really scared that they would mess it up, but they wound up not doing it, and it's just slow because they didn't have enough. They didn't have enough Tony Todd, who was the original actor for the Candyman, and
gotcha.
They have a really good thing in there that like they break up like the movie. They don't break it. It's not like a commercial. I know that's when I say they break up the movie with it. It's like oh, what do they do to it? But yeah, they break up the film with like these little practical shadow puppet pieces that are just like they were hand animated by I'm trying to think of some company, but if you just like look those up, that they show most of it in like the first trailer for it. If you like just look those up, I think it makes up a little bit of in the movie, and then all of the end credits. You could piece it together in its own short movie, and it'd be amazing. But yeah. For number 4, I kind of put 2 of the, I guess, artsy ones at the bottom. The Green Knight. I thought that was pretty good. I liked a lot of the stuff that came there. As what is it? A24. I don't really pay attention to most of their stuff because sometimes they're just a little too weird, even for my taste. But yeah. I thought the Green Knight was really good. I liked, oh darn it, I can't remember his name, but like
it's not Dev Patel, is it?
I think it is Dev Patel, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked his performance. The costume design was really good. It's like real medieval clothing, as it were. I like that, and I'm kind of a sucker for some Arthurian legend stuff. Yeah, it was a little weird, but it was so different. The advertising didn't do it any justice. They made it seem like it was like a swashbuckling knight action movie. But yeah, it was so different that it's like, yeah, it was really cool, and I didn't mind it. All right, and then number 3 is James Gunn's The Suicide Squad.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah. What is it? We had 2. What is it? two movies that were supposed to redeem what is it, the other movie that DC and Warner Brothers happened to make, and this was the better of the two. Looking at you, Snyder Cut.
Well,
yeah, but yeah, I could do do an hour show on just the little bits of the Suicide Squad that I did like. It's enough. You can tell James Gunn cared about it. It wasn't like, oh yeah, DC.
It was pretty fun. Yeah,
it was very fun. And it's like, oh yeah, DC wants their knockoff Guardians of the Galaxy. I guess I'll just give them more of the same. It's like, no. We'll come in. We'll do something good. We'll build off of what was already there. What little good was in the first Suicide Squad, we'll build off of that. I like the fact that they had some familiar faces with it's a bad day for actor names, so I'm just gonna say the characters. Amanda Waller and Rick Flag, and of course Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Of course, I can't forget Margot Robbie. So, just them being not recast and coming back and being able to like kind of get justice for those characters and their portrayals. That was good. That was a very fun movie, despite all the horrible graphic violence. Yeah. And of course, I kind of matched up with you guys in the very end with 2 and 1, or at least kind of in the ballpark. My second one was Dune. Enough said. We got an episode on it. Yep. Really hope they don't mess up part 2, because Joe, you're right. This is very much a part 1, and it is, if it doesn't hold up, it's gonna reflect very badly on Dune 1. But right now, a very good adaptation, very good general all around movie, solid performances, A+, chef's kiss, and then No Way Home. Good stuff. Good stuff. We didn't have to go back to formula.
That's right.
I didn't get to use that one last week, so
Yeah,
Gotta get my gabbling movie quotes in. I'm a gabbling.
Gabblings.
But yeah, it's everything I thought it would be, and a little bit of what I thought it wouldn't be, which is I really thought they'd mess up parts of this. I really thought they'd make it too much of a Marvel movie if it were too quippy, without too many overt connections, without too many overt connections to the big universe as a whole. Because, I mean, we can bring up the whole thing. It's like, Marvel movies are just products; they're not real film. It's like the whole point of having all these films and them being all connected is so you can build off of it. That's these movies are unique in the sense that they've got like a whole bucket of characters you can interject in there and have interesting scenarios with, which is exactly what we got with Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. And it wound up being it was a lot of fun. The theater experience was definitely something that added a couple little bit of points. If I had seen it a second time, I'm sure I would have let a little more loose, as it were, like cheered when Daredevil showed up or something or stuff like that. But I tried to be a little calm and collected. But even then, I couldn't help but not get excited in some moments. It was very, very fun. 9 out of 10, 9.5, almost
10 out of 10. You can just say it. You can say 10 out of 10.
All right, fine.
We won't judge.
10 out of 10. It's great.
Nice. Really good year for movies. Just a lot. It was really hard for me to trim it down to 5, but it was fun hearing both your guys' lists and realizing, even just with the ones I had trouble with, there were still others that I still missed. So just so much good stuff. And before we get into the films coming out this year, I'm just going to do a couple honorable mentions of things we enjoyed that weren't movies. So a few things that come to mind for me was we actually had 4 Marvel shows come out this year. In 2021. Somehow we had 4 Marvel shows or miniseries, whatever you want to call them. Falcon Winter Soldier didn't do much for me. Loki was kind of had its moments. It was fine. WandaVision was impressive technically, but overall as like a story and all that, it just was fine for me. But then we get Hawkeye, and I had a lot of fun with Hawkeye. Ooh. I really liked Hawkeye. Hawkeye was one I could see myself revisiting every year, especially because it takes place at Christmas time, because that automatically gives it points for me. So
put it in the Die Hard bucket.
that's right.
Pretty much, yeah.
But I loved it. It was great, and it was everything I wanted from a Hawkeye show. So very glad with that.
I really did like it as another a hopefully now what is going to be like a burgeoning catalog of street level Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
And I did, what is it? Since it's relatively new, I'm not going to say like, oh, I liked it when such and such came out, but you know, there's a callback to some of Marvel's earlier shows before they all got looped under Disney Plus that I enjoyed. They did a little something to the character that was a little odd in my opinion. But yeah, it was a fun ride. It was very fun. I wanted to binge the whole thing, but you know, I had to pace myself. It was very, very good.
Yeah, we might do a Hawkeye episode at some point. We'll see. But yeah, great show. Another one, probably my favorite season of TV I watched during 2021 was a Hulu original show called Only Murders in the Building.
Ooh.
Which starred Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez, all living in this apartment complex. Weird combo, I know, but it's all of them living in this weird apartment complex, and they are all fans of the same true crime podcast, and so they end up becoming friends as fans of that show. And then during one of their conversations, they find out there was a murder in their apartment complex. So they decide to start their own podcast, true crime podcast, about the murder in their building as they try to solve it. And it was only thing is they had a bit more language than it needed. That was a bit excessive, but aside from that, the overall story and the characters were excellent, and I absolutely loved it. And cannot wait for the second season. So it had a lot of heart and a lot of character, and so it was very fun. And you know, it hit close to home because it was them starting a podcast. And we start a podcast this year too, so there you go.
Definitely glad our stakes are a little less
a little
severe,
less,
as it were.
Although, if you guys keep having bad opinions about movies and keep disagreeing with my excellent opinions, someone might end up dead.
Oh man!
Don't worry, Joe. I have precautions.
It's me. You guys are going to kill me for having good opinions.
That's right.
Oh, well, I have those too. I've got plans.
Oh boy.
Here we go.
Okay. Well,
one of my top 5 things is learning how to hide the bodies.
It took you this long to learn how to hide a body? You're an adult, and it took you that long to figure that out. Well, Jack, is that all your honorable mentions? Or
anyway,
that was for shows. The only other thing that I can think of was this year. These weren't new per se, but just on the gaming side of things, I finished up I want to say it was Rocksteady Studios' Arkham trilogy. So I finished the Batman Arkham games. Specifically, I played Arkham Knight this year to cap off that trilogy of games. Absolutely loved it. I've learned that one of my favorite types of games are the third-person action adventure. So funny enough, after I finished up that trilogy, I ended up playing the first 2 Tomb Raider games, and those were excellent. And I'm working through the third now, but I'm very much a fan of the third person where they put a heavy emphasis on the story and telling a good story. And so far, both Tomb Raider games had a great story, and this one has been very good as well. So had a lot of fun with those. Spent a lot of time on those. So
that does sound like a lot of fun. You play Uncharted, Jack?
Want to. Getting a PS4 is on my list, so I can get Uncharted and the Spider-Man games.
Oh yeah, that's the Spider-Man one's definitely up there for me too.
Yeah. That's it for me.
Alrighty. You should have a little bit easier time getting a PS4 since everyone's clubbing each other to death over PS5s.
Right?
So
that's my thing.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Head. What is it? Head to a pawn shop. You're bound to find plenty of them.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to start off with a game, which is I'm pretty sure that Hades came out this year, but I enjoyed. I think is it this year?
I thought it was 2020. But
the Xbox port came out this year. You get it under a technicality.
Sure.
Okay. So I think that maybe the console port in general came out this year, and it came out on PC last year. But I started playing it this year, so it's new to me.
Sure.
So, that counts.
Great fun and excellent. If you're any fan of the roguelike or rogue, it's technically a rogue light, which is to say, you're killing things, and you do gain some benefits that carry over from run to run, but most of your powers you lose and have to restart each run. But it's an excellent game. Definitely recommend it. I did not 100% complete the game because there are so many things that you can do in there. But I enjoyed doing the run, completing the main story of it, and it was an excellent, fun game. I also was going to pick one of the Marvel Disney Plus shows, but since Jack picked Hawkeye, I'm going to go with WandaVision. I love both Hawkeye and WandaVision. I enjoyed the weirdness of WandaVision more.
Sure.
I don't know if it's exactly a better show, but it's one of those things where it's like, I really enjoyed how weird this was.
Sure. I definitely appreciate the effort they put into WandaVision.
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. So I enjoyed that. I don't even know if I would want another season of WandaVision. I don't know if I could ever watch that again and enjoy it the same way I enjoyed it the first time, like trying to figure out what's going on as it's coming out. But excellent TV show, and I hope Marvel keeps doing more stuff like that. And then the last thing, I have no idea if this came out this year or not, but I was walking through the bookstore and a book happened to catch my eye, and the book was The Illustrated World of Tolkien. And someone made a compilation of artwork that some of it is like officially licensed and some of it is fan art, and it's a bunch of compilation of artwork and descriptions of stuff from Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and the Silmarillion and a bunch of other different works that are all part of Middle Earth, and it is excellent. Like,
cool.
The art is beautiful, and the descriptions are excellent. There's stuff that I learned about the world that I didn't know, stuff that I learned about Middle Earth and Lord of the Rings, etc., that I didn't know before. I don't know if it came out this year or not. I just found it happening. I happened to walk through a bookstore looking for presents for other people, actually, and saw that and was like, I have to get this. So excellent read. So if you can find that, I would recommend. It's not going to take you very long to read because it is technically a picture book. Like, it is a book full of artwork. So it's not going to take you very long to read it.
My favorite kind of book.
That's right.
So, but
yeah,
those are
Nice.
my top other picks.
Well, I'm gonna start off, even though it's not what I put it in order, but since we're talking about the Marvel shows, it's funny that we all seem to be kind of in different camps, other than the fact that we thought Falcon and Winter Soldier was meh. But yeah, I enjoyed the first half of WandaVision. I still give it a lot of credit in terms of just the production of it. It is very much a movie quality production in a TV show format. Very good. Again, love the performances. Our two leads stand out, of course, but it lost me in the last 3 episodes. It just became, I don't know. It became stuff that I thought it would be. It's like the minute we lose like the show framing device and like that little fun thing, loses me. And not because it's like, oh, it didn't catch my attention because there wasn't a big explosion. No, it's just, I don't know. The first half worked really good, and the fact that it went away from that, just, I don't know. It cut it down from a 8 to a 7 to me. But I'll tell you what I really liked, which is ironically enough has almost a little bit like that in the terms where like halfway through there's kind of a change in not the format, but like a change in sort of like the status quo. I really liked Loki. I like that out of Loki, WandaVision, and Hawkeye second. Again, we talked about how much I like that, but I really enjoyed Loki a lot. It helped with Tom Hiddleston's performance. In fact, that everybody liked Loki. The fact that, again, by the performance alone, half the reason people remember the Avengers movie is because of Loki. So the fact that they were able to flesh him out and make him like just a little more. I mean, they did that throughout the other movies, but the fact that they were able to do that in a different way that was still loyal to the character was very interesting. And I also like the kind of the mystery angle too. And I love the weird look of the TVA, and I love the soundtrack and just like that. And I like the fact that, what is it? Tara Strong voiced a weird animated clock deity. And of course, Owen Wilson.
Wow.
Dude.
Wow.
He's the dude. Wow.
Dang it, you
Wow.
beat me by like 30 seconds. 3 seconds.
Wow. Jet ski. Wow.
Jet ski.
Yeah. Out of the shows, that one's my top pick. In terms of another show, I wanted to pick something that was animated because still like my animation and all. Was it? I really liked Invincible. Again, it's very, very much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very. What is it? It hits you with the Saturday morning cartoon vibes in the first episode, and then the last 10 minutes. Again, you've seen. I assume everyone's seen like stuff on the internet about it and like the memes and stuff.
I've
it's
heard.
Just like, yeah, just throws that curveball. Which you get if you've heard anything about the comics and stuff. That's like, oh, well, who knows? But then, just the fact that it was animated, it's a great voice cast. It's got, in terms of the animation itself, I don't know. You can tell a little bit. They pushed a little bit, but it's still visually very entertaining. And well, I kind of just do this one for I watch Loki for the visuals, and I watch Invincible for the story, and then I watch Willy's Wonderland just because it's cool. But yeah, in terms of just visual stuff and overall just good show. Yeah, Invincible was good, and it helps that this was J.K. Simmons' best work since Whiplash, and you can't see his face, which is something else. Another thing that is technically still, I got two things that are technically still relevant games because neither of them came out in 2020. But what is it? Expansions and DLC for them did, which like pretty much updated and changed the way the game was played. What is it? First one's No Man's Sky. Some of you might have heard.
Yep, heard of it.
Was it the debacle of No Man's Sky, the incomplete blockbuster, as it were? Was it? The little indie team that made it worked on it, brought it back, revamped it like, what is it, 2018? And they kept on improving it. And I would say the game is in the best state it was in 2021. It's like, it's just so, instead of like, what is it? It wasn't even a pond. It was a puddle when it was first released. And now it's an ocean. It's a real, there's so much that I can understand why people still don't like it because you just don't know where to go. You don't know what to do. Of course, it's not like a complete like simulation. It's like, oh, I want to go on a planet where there's only orange bugs as an ocean or something. It's like, no, but for what is it? For what it is, in the limitations that a nearly limitless like space world and like universe thing can be, it's amazing.
Cool.
And my last one is my old shame, my old addiction, as it were.
Oh no!
They came out with another year of Destiny 2, and I'm still playing it.
Oh boy, you poor child.
I love it. I hate it. Wait, no, I don't know. Yeah, what is it? It helps that I got a clan of folks that still play the game. They went through a little, of course. Bungie Studios is a good studio, but they went through some rough patches with the first game and then the second one. But I think they finally hit their stride in terms of releasing fun content. And again, it's like, why would you not play a game if it's not fun? It's like, you don't understand. This is a complicated issue. But yeah, I think it's the best it's been in a while. They're coming out with another expansion in February, and of course, I've already set aside funds for it. I'm ashamed.
You've
course.
already
Yeah.
set aside a significant portion of your life for it.
It's I don't know if I'll ever financially recover from this, at least time wise.
Yep.
Yeah, and as for that, if you know what Destiny is, you know. If you don't, it's a rabbit hole. If I get an episode this season, it'll be one of those road trip episodes in terms of put it on, drive to Florida, and you'll still have about an hour left once you get there. But yeah, that's all for me.
Nice. Very cool. Before we, or I guess we can do our anticipated of 2022 now, and sort of to switch things up, instead of us each doing our 5, I say, just for kicks and giggles, let's go. Each of us take turns. All of us do 5, all of us do 4, all of us do 3, etc.
Ooh.
Well, we're probably going to have some overlaps here, so I guess we're going to see who puts what where.
Yeah. So, number 5 for me. This was one I just heard about like a couple days ago. Is this one called Bullet Train by a director named David Leitch, or Leitch. I don't know how you say it correctly, but
It's not David Lynch, is it?
it's not David Lynch. I do know
I was
that.
about to say, it's like, Jack, I've heard you say David Lynch before. It's
Right.
I don't know what's going on.
It's spelled Leitch, so however you want to say that. But he directed Deadpool 2. He directed Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So he also directed the first John Wick film, and so he's very good with directing action films. Yeah, so
That name seems so familiar.
Basically, he has his film coming out. Brad Pitt's the star, and you've got, I think, Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's the guy who played Quicksilver in Age of Ultron. He's going to be in it, and Michael Shannon's going to be in it. Sandra Bullock. It's basically about 5 assassins aboard a fast-moving bullet train. Find out they're all spies, and they find out their missions have something in common. That's pretty much all we know at this point, but I think it could be very exciting.
Is it
Strangers on a
Other?
Train, sponsored by Beretta?
I don't know. I know nothing about it except for that, and so that sounds promising. So, if nothing else, I think it should be a solid action film. So, looking forward to that.
We take those.
Exactly.
All right,
Joe, you go.
So this is. I understood the assignment. The assignment is things we're looking forward to, not things that we think will be good. So again, just like I said in my top 5, the thing, my 5th pick for things I'm looking forward to is Morbius. I am looking forward to the weird vampire doctor person that goes and gets attacked by bats in some cave somewhere and gets superpowers movie. And
he gets turned into a C-list Spider-Man villain.
And he gets turned into a C-list Spider-Man villain, excuse me, yeah. So, I don't think it's going to be good. I think that I will enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to enjoying it.
You would be correct to assume that, except for that last part.
Well, we'll see. I mean, here's the thing. It's probably going to be a negative scoring movie. It's going to be an ironically scoring in the left side of the U movie, but we'll find out. So I'm looking forward to finding out.
Now, I really do hope I'm wrong and it completely subverts expectations. Like it's the best thing since sliced bread. Yeah, but all the delays. I don't know. Still, I'll give it a chance. Just like I'm going to give Prey a chance. Prey is their other attempt at a Predator sequel, and mercy. They can't make it worse than the other one. They can't make it worse than the most recent one. It's just there's so much wrong with that movie, and everyone on the internet's harped on about it, so I'm not going to spend the next 20 minutes doing that, but it's just not a Predator movie. He's there like you might see a Predator action figure on an unrelated movies, like for set dressing, but it's like, oh yeah, I'm giving him one more chance. You hear that, Hollywood? You get one more chance. And if you don't get it right, I'm coming for you. But yeah, another cautiously optimistic take. If it's as a good a continuation as I guess Ghostbusters Afterlife was, like, I mean, in terms of picking up years later, I think that's what the premise is going to be. Like one of the I say descendants because God, it's been what 40. 40 years since Predator, like one of the descendants of like one of the survivors is now going to be hunted by a Yautja, a predator, and it's gonna really be like back to basics. Which, if a film says something like that, back to basics, is a good chance that it could be good, and then a good chance that it could be horrible.
Would you say back to formula?
Yeah, I guess. I can't even. I don't even have enough. I'm not confident enough in that to make the back to formula joke. It's just
he's that worried.
I'm that worried.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. It's not me. It's the directors, Peter. The directors did it. It's not me.
Oh, boy.
I will say, Joseph, that just briefly looking into it within the 5 seconds you mentioned it, I looked into a little bit over here. I actually am now sort of interested simply because the guy they have directing it is a guy named Dan Trachtenberg, and this is only his second film he's ever directed. His first was 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I loved. I thought that was an excellent film, so that's already promising. And he also directed a Portal short film, which I liked a lot. So there is hope. There is hope. So I can understand your you looking forward to this, because now I am as well, because that sounds cool.
Yeah, join me in this rickety boat, Jack.
That's right.
Make it. We might make it.
We might make it.
We might just make it.
Awesome. Number 4 for me is one that I heard about called Babylon. There's a director named Damien Chazelle. He's become very popular in the past decade. Joseph, you mentioned Whiplash. That was that's sort of what put him on the map.
Good stuff.
So he did Whiplash, then he also did La La Land a year or two later, which, whether you like how that film ended or not, overall you have to admit is a very well done film, well made film. Songs are great, all of that. So Babylon is his new film set in Hollywood during the transition from silent films to talkies, and focusing on a mixture of historical and fictional characters. And it looks, just because he's directing it, I know if nothing else, it's going to be a very pretty looking movie. So you have, I think, Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie starring in that. So,
Jack, we have very similar taste, because I've not heard a thing about it, but that sounds great. That's going on the list.
Nice.
All right. My number 4 pick is the next attempt at a long-standing franchise, because that's all we do right now is next attempts at long-standing franchises.
Of
so
course.
this is the Batman, which
Okay.
I am indeed looking forward to it. Again, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see where it goes. I don't know how much more I have to say about that, though.
Sure. Matt Reeves is directing, so he, in my opinion, he saved the Planet of the Apes franchise from being meh to being excellent and one of the best trilogies of the past decade. So, and he also directed the first Cloverfield film, actually. So he's a decent director. So I'd say it's in pretty good hands. So I'd say we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, that's, again, looking forward to. Like, that's where we're at.
Right.
That's the place we're in.
Right.
So
I have more confidence in the Batman than I do Morbius.
We're working our way up the list. All right.
Oh yes,
fair.
Very much. Out of the two bats, yeah, I'll take that one.
Out of the two vaguely vampire kind of things, this one's the better one.
Yes.
Actually, wow, it's funny how this lines up really well. We're playing, what is it? 5 points of connection or whatever it's called, because my next one is the I don't know if you call it a remake, reboot, probably remake of Salem's Lot. What is it? Salem's Lot was a Stephen King book. They adapted it in the 80s. I thought it was really good. We've gotten a decent amount of King adaptations recently. Of course, the Moneymakers were It and It Part 2. And then there was Pet Sematary. And then there was a bunch of Netflix ones. We don't talk about Pet Sematary. And then, it seems that most of his stuff is doing really good as either short films or like little quick Netflix ones. I don't really know too much about this. For all I know is it could be a Netflix one. I actually forgot that it was coming out this year, so I'm actually not quite sure who the creative team is, but it's vampire adjacent because if you don't know the plot of Salem's Lot, it's no spoilers, but it's pretty much like a writer returns to his sleepy New England town or Maine town. Again, it's Stephen King. It's either Maine or New England, but he returns there and he realizes it's festering with, well, it's like, specific area, but yeah, okay. Festering with vampires. And these vampires aren't your Twilight ones. They're not your 30 Days a Night ones. These are your Nosferatus.
Hold on. Do we call it a festering of vampires? Is that what a group of vampires is?
Oh, no, I just said it's festering with vampires.
Oh, it's okay.
I have no idea. I'm not familiar with my, cryptid terminology, I'm afraid.
Come on, man.
It's a murder of crows and a festering of vampires.
Yes, I love it.
A slaughter of vampires.
Ooh, I like that one.
That's quite a festering of vampires over there.
Yeah.
Let me see. Number 3 for me, I put Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Mm-hmm. Simply put, it's Sam Raimi directing a Marvel film. So he's back. He hasn't been back since Spider-Man 3. So I have hopes for this, and we will see what happens.
Yep. I have so going for the nostalgia pick because they are making Hocus Pocus 2 this year.
Oh,
that's right.
It is either going to be the best thing that has ever existed ever in the history of the universe, or the worst thing that has ever existed ever in the history of the universe. And either way, I want to be there to see it. So
that's fair.
But I have no idea what's going to happen in it. I have zero expectations for it, except for the fact that it is Hocus Pocus 2.
If the train gets there, that's good. If it crashes,
it'll be
good too.
At least it was a fun ride.
Yeah, exactly. That's all. That's it. Yep.
Well, we do have a little. Not a little bit of crossover. We do have a crossover because I put Doctor Strange there too.
Nice.
Looks fun. I've been waiting for a Doctor Strange sequel for a while. I know it's funny, but what is it? Me and my buddy are big Doctor Strange fans. I've liked the fact that they did Baron Mordo. Well, they call him Mordo in the movie, but yeah, I really wanted to see where his character went because Baron Mordo is like, in addition to Dormammu, just the Strange's go-to antagonist. So again, it's a very small thing with everything that's going on. The possibility of, again, this is all speculation, so please do not at me, as the kids say. What is it?
It's a theory.
Yep, a movie theory or a film theory.
There is a channel
Matt Pat. Don't do it, Matt Pat. But yeah, the possibility of mutants showing up, Wanda and Strange teaming up, all that. I'm just excited to see Baron Mordo again. I want to see what they do with this character. I hope they don't kill him like they did the other guy just for, it's like, he's the bad guy. He needs to go. But yeah, for a lot of reasons I'm excited. That's kind of an obscure one. Very nice. Very good.
Nice.
I hear a cat.
Okay, can you guys? Is that being picked up by the microphone? I can't do anything about that. Gannon
it's fine.
It's okay. That's the first time I've heard him.
He is apparently starving because it's almost dinner time. So we need to wrap this up so I can feed him.
All right.
So
What's your top 5, Gannon? Put him up to the mic. What's he saying?
He's trying to say. He's very excited. He's a lot of theories and opinions. And stuff,
he has a lot of opinions.
Anyway, for my number 2 film, I put Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 because
I forgot about that one.
It's
Part 1.
Yeah, apparently it's Part 1.
Yes.
So
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1.
That's a mouthful. So simply put, I absolutely loved the first one and cannot wait to see more of this world and its characters. So,
yep. I actually forgot that I didn't include that one on my list. I forgot that was coming out this year. There's a lot of But there's a lot of good things I'm looking forward to. But I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to, because I'm personally very invested in Harry Potter, I am looking forward to Fantastic Beasts: Secrets of Dumbledore. I mean, the Fantastic Beasts series has been okay. It doesn't have the
Mhm.
same magic that the original Harry Potter did. But I'm looking forward to it. I want to at least see how, I want to see if they can land this plane, or I want to see if they can land this dragon. They've got it up in the air by a miracle,
Yeah.
and it's still technically flying. And
We've
I would
lost
like
en-
to I would like to see if they can land it at some point. So
we've
Somebody
lost
watch
engine
those.
3, and engine 4 is no longer on fire.
yes, yeah, exactly. That's kind of where we're at right now. Yep.
Well, what is it? I've got one more Marvel jam for my second pick. Thor: Love and Thunder. What is it? Another Taika Waititi jam. He's just my favorite in terms of, I guess, up and coming. He's done a lot of stuff that's
I
been
think
really
he's here,
good recently.
right? He's not coming. He's here.
Oh yeah, he's
Yep.
here.
He is
He's
very
established.
present.
But it's almost like his style is almost to the point. It's like, well, no, that makes him sound like a hipster. It's like he's going away from the mainstream, man. He's his own dude. But yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder looks good. He did Ragnarok very well. You know, just breathed life into Marvel's little dying corner that was Thor. And then yeah, I'm just really excited for what to do. It's if No Way Home can redeem, what is it? That one Spider-Man comic line that I still can't remember the name for, that was really bad.
One more day.
One more day. If it can redeem one more day, it can do the same for the Jane Foster Thor run, which I personally didn't like too well. It's because I hate women, just because that's how that's how it always is.
All right. Well, hey,
we have our podcast description now.
As long as you know who you are.
I am what I am.
I'm the terrible monster who loves Venom too, but you're the terrible monster
who hates women. We have 2 tiers of evil here, sir. There's only 2. But yeah, if he could do something good with that, which I'm sure he can, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number one, this is a film I've been looking forward to ever since they finished the last one, Mission Impossible 7. That is my number one. Okay. I have absolutely loved this franchise. 1 was great. 1 was just a classic spy film. Never saw 2. Probably will end up seeing it at some point, but never bothered. Didn't hear it was worth it. 3 was a solid action film. Really liked it. And then 4 on have just been insanely awesome. 4 was just 4, 5, and 6 have all been great. Like 6, I think 6 has been the best yet. And so I'm very excited to see where they go with this franchise that is just still just excellent and just at its just hit its peak with its last film. Its 6th film, it hit its peak. So it can only, it can only go better from here, hopefully. So.
All right. Well, my number one pick has already been mentioned. It is Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness, because WandaVision was my favorite of the Disney Plus movies, or excuse me, Disney Plus shows. And when I watched that, I was pumped and excited for Multiverse of Madness. And then we closed out the year with No Way Home, and I'm pumped and excited for Multiverse of Madness even more after that. So I am very much.
And similarly, mine was mentioned too. Across the Spider-Verse. I just loved Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I'm a big fan of Lord Miller's work. What is it? I think Lego Movie was my favorite movie when I was a kid. It was just between me being like a kid and a teenager, and it's like, God, I guess I'll go see Lego Movie. I'm not a kid anymore. I guess I'll watch it before I become like a cool teenager. And well, first of all, I never was. Second of all, yeah. Love Lord Miller's work. If it's half as good as the first one, and it's not going to be. It's going to be even better. You can just tell from the trailer they released. It's just the fact that it's every single world they're going to go through. I mean, you don't know how many there are, but every single world is going to have its own art style, its own way of being animated. It's going to take so much work. And the thing is, they're willing to put in the work for it. It's the one thing Sony Studios is doing right in terms of Spider-Man. In addition to loaning out the rights to Marvel for No Way Home and the other stuff. I'm very excited for it.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely a lot to look forward to in 2022. We got a lot. I mean, there were so many films that we didn't even mention that we'll probably end up watching, because there are a lot of films that, even if we're not necessarily looking forward to them, we're probably going to watch them. So stay tuned for that when we start season 2. But yeah, it's
when will that be, Jack?
We are airing season 2, episode 1 on February the 7th. So we're going to take a little break, get our schedules in order, get season 2 lined up and all ready for you all. So it's been a blast recording with you gentlemen for this first season. I've loved every week of it, and I can't wait to keep doing it with season 2. I think we're going to have a lot more variety as well. I think our goal is to put in some more book and game reviews as well, and even some more show reviews. And obviously, if you guys have any thing you'd like us to review in particular, please let us know. Please, reach out, and we'd be more than happy to cover it. And so I've absolutely loved recording this season. Can't wait to see where we go with season 2, guys.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's been a blast.
Yeah. So
smash that like button, leave that comment.
That's right, whatever you good kids do. Yeah. So
remember to do all of the internet things that you internet on the internet, please.
Word. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to this has been the Background Noise Podcast. If you've been listening, we appreciate you. But if not, no worries. If you haven't listened to the entire season, no worries. You didn't really miss anything. So thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in season 2.
Couldn't have the show without you. Here's looking at you, kid.